Hello and welcome to your Security Boost podcast, in which we demystify security and simplify protection for your personal and business valuable assets. I am Yota Nikolaidou, your hostess. Let's get started. Hey there! I hope you're having a fantastic day and thank you so much for tuning in. So today we are going to talk about
if you've posted something, for example, on your Facebook page that you're looking for an apartment, for example, right. And somebody takes that information and posts it on another website with your telephone number and everything else. What can be done?
That's illegal, obviously, and that is not following the GDPR compliance, because obviously if you publish that information publicly,
yes,
then you have to remove them. But and usually they take this advantage of you publish them publicly, and that's why I use them.
Yes, and so I used it anyway.
Yes. But yes, they have to ask you if it's private data, and you have the right to, there are many websites that are stealing personal data and are just putting them online. And that's why the previous time I came, I said it's good to search what we have online about us.
I was about to say that again, so you've preempted me. Have a search about what other people see about you and go incognito, maybe even.
Yes, of course. And the thing is that that is, I mean, you might, don't worry why Google should know that you search for a specific spot or a cream or something.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, all the information they have about us, we don't know how they
disseminate it elsewhere.
Exactly. So it's very important to be on the safe side instead of giving everything out and being worried at the end of the day that someone is going to steal our data.
Now, last time we spoke, you gave a very good advice, and we went over VPN, virtual private network, and so I did exactly what you said. And so I'm now going to use that. I have to still download, but can you perhaps just go over once again, for those who are listening today and who maybe didn't listen here the last time, what a good idea and how much you can actually be saved. It just increases that security level to the next notch. As I said in the beginning, we built levels and layers of protection, and I mentioned VPN, which is I want you to think about it as a pipe. So when you send data over the internet, everyone who has access to that network, and mostly people sit on restaurants and hotels and coffee shops, and they share information on that free Wi-Fi.
Yes, and that public Wi-Fi, it's not obviously secure. So you are leaking information, and someone can actually get on your device as well from there. And you know, if they get on your device, they can get to your network, and that's how they get into businesses. Is one very common approach.
Not to mention passwords and everything else.
Passwords is like having the strongest security in the world, but you leave the door open.
That's another whole issue. I think you said it takes 30 seconds to find passwords.
It depends on the complexity and, you know, many parameters about passwords, and we can talk about that.
We'll have to do another program.
Yes. But the thing with passwords is that they are not dependent on the system administrator or the person who is setting your security.
No.
They are dependent on you. And systems don't have the ability or the knowledge or the intelligence better to understand who is the right person for them to access that data.
Yes.
So if the person has the password, or if they can break the password within seconds or minutes or hours, because it's very easy and simple.
Yes.
Or if they reuse it and it was breached from one service provider and use them everywhere, the hacker can get to your data. So it's really based on it's what we say in security, that the weakest link in security is people. But I do extend that, and I say that it's also the strongest link if you train them and you teach them how to do it properly.
Yes.
And that is why I spend a lot of time in understanding how the human brain works and
Yes.
how to make it easy for people and usable.
That, I think, is the greatest challenge, trying to understand people.
No, actually, we operate on patterns. So there is a very important part of our brain, and that is our patterns.
Yes.
We do, and we
Things
call
as-
them habits usually.
Yes,
So we
yes.
have habits.
Yes.
And I say that there are good habits and bad habits, and in everything. So we want to improve our bad habits and
Exactly.
keep and embrace our good habits. So in security is the same thing. If we have a habit to see it on a public Wi-Fi, it's much better if we turn our mobile phone data, our account data, instead of that.
People are worried about not having enough data to be able to download it.
Yeah.
Extreme costs in some countries.
Yeah, well, it's much better to pay 5-10 euro to do something, and it's good to control our connection with mobile devices, because there is some kind of how to say that, we get obsessed about our online presence, and I have
Yes.
seen many people sitting on the same table and they don't even communicate with
No.
each other. They send messages all the time, and it's good to understand that if you are on an environment you don't control, which is a cafe, a hotel, the airport, which are the three most common locations for hackers to pick you up as a victim, by the way. So you
Right.
have to be extra careful.
Hotels, airports, and
Hotels,
airports and cafes.
and restaurants,
Right.
these locations. And that is because everyone is getting connected to public Wi-Fis, and even VIPs do that, and they choose them on these locations as well, because it's much more difficult to get on a secure environment.
Yes.
And it's much easier if you are in a place you don't control, you connect your phone because you want to check something, and your system is not going to be able to identify all types of attacks. So this is very important. At the moment we have software and systems we use, but this is not 100% secure. Why? Because there are attacks that I can go through this process to a whole new
Yes.
show, but the thing, because it's a whole, it's a very big concept. But basically what happens is that our programs and software and tools are lines of code.
Yes.
These lines of code can have a mistake because they are huge, or someone put something on purpose in there. So we have like backdoors. We call them backdoors. So you have the front door where you enter to a system, and you have the back door. And there is an example I explain this. Let's say we have a lift, and to that lift there is the top floor cannot be accessed from any other floor than floor 2.
Right.
But someone made a mistake, and from floor -1 left an opening there, and they get to that floor as well.
Yes.
So that's how we deal with breaches. The whole thing is that there are systems which can figure out that you have, it's all these updates we get.
Yes.
Companies are fixing their mistakes and the security holes they found.
Right.
But if someone is not reporting to them, and that person is a malicious person with malicious goals, and they want to attack, they will use that, and no system will figure it out because it doesn't know.
So, using the VPN in these areas is actually going to be a savior.
I'm not saying VPN is going to give them 100% security, but it's definitely much better than nothing.
Is the VPN possible to use in these areas, cafes and such? So you actually log on from there. Does it use your personal, your data, your mobile data that you have allocated to you, or do you log on with Wi-Fi?
I would say both. It's better to do as much as you can to protect yourself. So I would say yes, you can use your data for important stuff.
Yes.
So first of all, you have to select the cases you are going to get online. So
Yes.
if you are in this environment you don't control, do you really need
to do
get
your
online?
banking?
Yes. Do you really need to make a payment online? Do you
No.
really need to do something very specific, like putting your password to an account you have? That's the first thing. The second thing is, let's say that you do, there is no other option, you have to do it. In that case, yes, of course, it's better to use your data and then enable your VPN as well. Actually, I would say use your VPN even in your home, because you never know who is going to sit outside your house and be able to get to your network.
Right.
Networks have a password as well, and most people have weak passwords. Usually I hear about children name, pet names, password 1 2 3 4 5 6. That's the most common, or God, love, all these very common passwords which you don't even need a second to break them. These are the first options of hackers. And then when you enable VPN and you use your data, it doesn't mean that it's completely safe. So there are cases that we use our data, but we are in another country. So when we go to another country, there is a handshake between our device and the telecommunication tower, which is going to allow us to make
Yes.
phone calls to
Yes.
that country. These systems are designed before security was an issue, so someone can mimic them. And so when you travel to another country, they might take, in that communication, they might get to your system. And that is how they get investors usually hacked, or, corporate executive people.
Do they know who they're looking for, all these hackers?
When we talk about these types of attacks,
Yes.
they are mainly attacking VIPs, politicians, investors. They love airports.
Do people do you find that people say, oh, I'm not important, I'm not an investor, I'm not a politician, I'm just a normal person who's sitting on my telephone looking at Facebook, for example?
Yeah, okay, yes. Obviously it depends who we are. In order to create that threat assessment on
Yes.
how much valuable data we have.
Yes.
But in most cases you might think that I'm not that important, but you never know who is the criminal and what they want from you.
Right.
That's one point. And the other point is, we might have clients who are VIPs.
Yes.
So if I am a clinic and I have for a cosmetic surgery someone who is a VIP or a politician or someone who has some kind of information that are valuable, we might not even know it because it's not publicly announced that this is a VIP, but yes, they might get through you to get to that person. So that's why I said there are so many correlations between data.
Yes.
I think I'm going to write a book about correlations between data. It's very important.
Yes.
It's the heart of understanding how to protect ourselves.
It's been fascinating speaking to you, Yoda. We can just go on and on.
Yeah.
We'll call you back for some other very, very important and key things that you've actually touched on today. I think that people have a much better understanding of the importance of GDPR, what they have to do to be compliant. And as Yoda said, go onto the website and have a look. It's free information there for you to either contact her or to actually find somebody who is the right person for you and who will do the best job for you. So go to yodanicolaidou.com from Secure World Vision. Thank you so much for being here in the studio with me and explaining so clearly and so lucidly for anybody to be able to actually understand all about GDPR. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me. It's always... I love talking with you.
Thank you.
I cannot wait to hear your comments, so leave them below or head to yodanicolaidou.com and let's continue the conversation. You will find the link in the description of this episode. Have a great day, and until next Monday, stay safe.